One. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am actually here with Josh Gavin. He has a busy day. Actually, I had to postpone it a little bit because he was actually on another webinar. I don't know if you guys know Layton Butler or not, but I know he used to do some stuff with Rob Quinn and Agency in the Box. And just go check him out on his page. But actually, he had a webinar with Josh. So Josh is pretty busy today, Josh Gavin. And just going to introduce him. My wife asked me this morning, how did I get in touch with him? How did I find him? Actually, to be honest, I really don't know. He's probably in one of the groups or something, and I saw him post and went to his page. And actually, I've been talking with him probably maybe about the last 2-3 months, kind of off and on. And then actually, I kind of jumped into his program he had, I guess, the other day or whatever. But let me tell you, he is actually 16 years old. I actually stole some notes on his background, so I was on the webinar as well. But I know he was 16. He started his agency when he was 14 years old, and he has helped over 100 agencies with their cold calling. And thank you guys for joining us.
Cold messaging.
Cold messaging, yeah, not cold messaging.
Yeah. You're good.
Yeah, two different things there, as I put on the post, as far as he's actually found a way where you would not have to cold call. And, he's doing everything, in Messenger and cold messaging. But, just let us know if you guys are on live. That's right. My wife also, I just found this out the other day when I was talking to him. He is a homeschooler. My kids are homeschooled. So, that's pretty interesting. Go. 16 years old. And I'm just going to actually, give the floor to him. Let him tell you about his background, how he got started, and everything like that. So the floor is yours, Josh.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, I appreciate that and the introduction, all of that. I'm so happy that we were able to hop on this. But yeah, my background. So I did start doing service providing, or my agency, if you want to call it that, when I was 14 years old. Now, the way I got into this was I started with e-commerce and drop shipping. I was one of those kids who thought I'd make $1 million selling Chinese products, just chilling on Shopify, making all this big money, right? I was one of those kids. I'll admit that. I watched all those YouTubers. Luckily, I never bought their course or anything like that. I was always a guy who stuck to just learning it myself, but that's how I got into all of it. Now, I soon realized, though, that drop shipping isn't something that you can just make $1 million off with a budget of like $100 a month as a 14-year-old kid, or 200, 300. I mean, I was working a part-time job at the time at a local apple orchard, so I had some money, but it's not like sustainable, right? So I realized that I needed something different, and I wanted to create a business and something I could brand myself as. So I came across social media marketing from my man Iman Ghazi. I found him on YouTube. I watched a couple of his videos, and then 3 days later, I landed my first client for social media marketing at like $400 or something. And I was so happy. I was like, dude, this is crazy. $400, like all I have to do is like manage his Facebook. Like, what is this? This is amazing. And I thought it was so cool. So after that, I jumped into it full on. I started working with e-commerce stores, and up until that age and up until now, I've started to up my price for how much I charge, how much I'm worth, and, working with a lot of different industries, a lot of different people. And now I'm switching into working with B2B agencies, helping agency owners. I've taught over 100 agencies how to cold message effectively using our 4 pillars. And, we've kind of just worked from there. And I'm extremely grateful for supportive parents and amazing people in the community to help me out. And I hope I never take it for granted. And yeah, it's been a great journey. And I know it's not like I had some long background or rags to riches story, but I'm excited to see what happens the rest of this journey.
Yeah, that's a good introduction. As far as he was talking about his parents and everything. Oh, I forgot to explain this, but actually, if you guys stay on to the end, he's actually going to give away a free gift. You have to stay on to the end to figure out what it is, see what it is, and everything like that. So, but I know it's going to be valuable, because every time he gets on a webinar, even when he's in it, every time he puts a post down or something, man, you can go to his page, check out his testimonials. But the thing is, every time he drops information, it's valuable, and it can actually help you grow your business. On the webinar we just went to, he gave a couple of tactics. Actually, it was, I think, a guy. Obviously, I said there's one guy, Latham. He's actually been working with Rob Quinn, and Josh dropped some knowledge on him that he didn't even know, as far as I guess it was a specific type of software where you can acquire leads. So I'm telling you, this kid knows what he's doing. I mean, I call him a kid. He's 16, but I mean, if you listen to him and
it's all good.
and if you if you listen to him, he's actually you can see how he's actually already growing his business. So I mean, he's not like a typical 16-year-old kid, which kind of leads me to my next question. And actually, I forgot to introduce or say anything about this, but yeah, kind of changed up the setting. I don't have my microphone. I don't have my my polo on or anything like that. But I just wanted to do a little different, always improving, just to let the kids know, because a lot of people, I guess, they underestimate kids or youngsters or everything like that. But the thing is, age is nothing, but a number. Most of the time people say that, when they get older, but even, I guess, you can look at that as far as, a younger person as well. It's just nothing, really but a number. So that leads me to my next question as far as, how, and I know you're a homeschooler and everything like that. I kind of want to get your take on, the public school system, even though you may not have been in it, but I'm pretty sure you have friends and everything, especially being online.
Yeah.
You interact with people. So, because obviously you really don't talk like a normal 16-year-old little kid. And I want to say, look, I know you're about to turn 17 next month, but how did you develop this? Did you read books? Was it something your parents influenced you in? How did you come to, I guess, this aspect? Because obviously, I have kids as well. So obviously, you seem pretty mature. You don't seem like you're 16 years old. So, explain what was the metamorphosis?
So one thing is I feel like really helped is when you are homeschooled, you have the ability to not be under a strict set line of thought that they're putting down on you. You're able to branch out and explore different areas in the world and different things that you can pursue. And so I feel like that really helped me. I wasn't around the traditional public school kids that talked a certain way all the same way and fell into that, right? I was around multiple different people, so I was able to pick up on different ways people acted or talked. And so I feel like that really helped me. Another thing that I give credit to is, is when I was a kid, my dad, he does a lot of creative consulting, a lot of work, David Allen, Tony Robbins, all that kind of stuff. And he always worked from home. So I had the ability to sit in his office or like color in there when I was a kid or just like chill. And I'd always like look at all the stuff and like any books or resources he had that he sold for Tony Robbins or David Allen, I had access to, and I didn't really understand them. And I'd never read many books, but I was just like kind of submerged in that. And honestly, I never thought I would end up in the same line of, work that he is in, but it really influenced it. And so hearing his consulting calls or his on-stage sales presentations and all of that, like I always give him credit to, being that example, even if I wasn't pursuing that, just listening to him and just being around that kind of helped me shape the way that he performs. And just like learning from my parents and always trying to respect what they have to say and hearing what they have to say about my business and the way I act has really helped me, as well as just trying to be the best Christian possible and, making sure I don't have my identity in something that I'm not and keeping my line of thought on where it should be.
That's a good answer, because speaking, I guess, from your parents' aspect, I know you did a post the other day, or you mentioned something in the comment where you said, I really don't even have access to my money. My money's still, in my dad's name, so he has to pretty much give me, give me my money. So I guess it was just something in the other webinar where people were saying, there's like Josh needs to upgrade his internet service, and there was technical difficulties and all that stuff. And I don't know, it's actually technical difficulties on both ends. But that's the joy stuff of going live. But the situation with that was, Josh said, well, you need to talk to my parents and let them know they need to get the internet service and upgrade the internet service. So I think that's kind of interesting how you have a young or actually, one of your kids in the household is really not of age yet, and they're actually making pretty much, a lot of money as far, well, I won't say a lot, but they have their own business where, they're pretty much, they're not, I guess, they can't make their own decisions. So that's and so I have to ask you as well, what drives you? Being 16-year-old, because I've heard this from a lot of, other I guess entrepreneurs who are, I guess, older and have been in the business for a long time. But obviously you're just getting started and you're still young. But what drives a 16-year-old little kid, almost 17, to the fact that why? Well, what pursues you, or what pushes you?
Yeah. Man, okay, it's funny because I wouldn't, first off, I don't think it's money, honestly, because if it was money, I would have stopped doing this a long time ago when I wasn't making money. That's what I always say. But I really feel like there's passion behind it. There's in this world of, I don't know if it's just the teaching side of things or providing the results or having something that you've created, right? Um, I really enjoy creating systems and strategies that make things easier, but also bring crazy results. And whenever since I worked in an apple orchard, and I guess I'm still there in a sense. I worked there seasonally as like a like manager in a sense, managing people and whatever. But whenever I worked there, we were doing manual labor stuff, and there was jobs that were like harder or seemed hard. But I always was like, how can I do this faster? But get the same result, right? And so I realized like I feel like that's kind of fit into my business world, and what drives me is having that kind of passion to create these systems and strategies that bring the same result but cut the work in half, and then relate to the marketing space or the sales space. So I feel like just making systems, creating strategies, it's like it excites me, and like whenever I think about it, it's like I start thinking like, oh, I can't wait to get back to my laptop, get things going, and just test things out. So I feel like that's what drives me.
I mean, I'm just sitting here, kind of in awe just for the fact that you are saying develop systems, because I know that a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners are actually right now, they've been in business for a while and they still have not developed systems. They don't understand systems. So that's pretty
Yeah.
interesting that that you're saying that and that you know that. I mean, how did you, I mean, I know you talked a lot about your dad and your parents being an influence. I mean, is there
Yeah.
anybody else that you kind of, listen to? I mean, do you believe in mentors? I mean, can you pinpoint one particular person that you actually listen to and actually you learn? I mean, or is it just a multitude of different people?
Yeah.
Just for the fact that you're even saying develop systems, because I know I just talked to Rob Quinn about this, and he said, he's developing systems, and pretty much he just started, developing systems, and not only
Yeah.
just the fact that, I keep saying you're young, but I mean, it's not even necessarily that, just the fact that you just pretty much started your business only for 2 years, which a lot of people still don't
Yeah.
understand that they've been in business 10, 15 years. So do you want to
Yeah.
expound on that?
Yeah. Yeah. So um here's the thing, when it comes to mentors and everything, I've never been a person. I think I've bought like one course before, and it was I think I've only bought one course before, and it was like a year into what I was doing. I was always a kid who wanted to just figure it out on YouTube, figure it out myself, instead of like buying these courses, because one, I guess I didn't really have the money for it at the time, and I just wanted to do it myself. But I mean, one of the credit I would probably give to, first off, is definitely God. I mean, I listen to him all the time with everything I'm doing. I don't know what you believe on that, but I mean that's kind of one of the main things, is just having that. But in a physical realm and all of that, Iman Ghazi, I learned from him. That's when I first heard about it. His lifestyle, his attitude really matched what I do now. I don't necessarily go to him that much, but I mean, he's definitely the guy kind of started this all, in that sense, as well as another guy named Rainus. He's now my business partner. He kind of motivated me. It wasn't until after I had a call with him that I started getting to that 6-figure mark. And so I really credit whatever he did on that call. Like it really like motivated me or changed my whole business model. And so those are kind of some of the people I can pinpoint at this point. But other than that, I just like to learn on my own and go through trial.
So I guess it's pretty important just saying that have somebody else, I guess, motivate you. I mean, I don't know if you want to go into
Yeah.
detail. I mean, what exactly? I expect you not to go in too much detail, but I mean, what exactly?
No.
I mean, what was the takeaway from that one call you had? I mean, how can just, I guess, because a
Yeah.
lot of people think, you hopping on a call, one situation or one moment is really not going to change their life. But I mean, how did that
Yeah.
one particular, I mean, was it something he said, or was it, I mean, what exactly
Yeah.
clicked?
Yeah. So, one of the main things was he also was, he is 17 or now 18 as well, but he was a very confident, like mature person. I didn't know that. And so when he told me that, it really made like me feel like, all right, I need to be more confident now. I got to act more serious. Like it kind of made me like look up to him in a sense, or like use as something like to look up to him and follow what he was doing. And then also, one thing that always stood out to me that he helped and shaped a ton of things I do now is when he was talking about a script he used for cold calling at the time. He was asking certain questions, and the questions he was asking in that script, it's funny, it's something so small, but like learning those types of questions to ask totally transformed how I sold, how I, did everything by just knowing that a good salesman needs to ask good questions, and how questions can psychologically do so much for you. Like we talked about in our call the other day, it's just like, it can do so much. So that's one of the big things I would say is just looking at that. I need to start asking better questions and taking questions and, turning them into something bigger than just a question.
Yeah, I'm a real big advocate for asking questions. My mother-in-law used to get on me all the time. It's like, why do you have to question? Why do you have to ask so many questions? So, I
That's
guess
great. That's great.
Just for the fact of, let's talk about, I guess, cold messaging. So what made you go into cold messaging rather than just cold calling? Why do you prefer cold messaging over cold calling?
So initially, the reason why I got into it before I knew all the pros about it was because I was too young to drive, to go to meetings. And most time when you're cold calling, you're going to get a physical meeting. And I thought that's how you got to do it. And so I was like, I can't do this. How am I supposed to get meetings? Well, I guess I'm going to have to try something else, right? So that was one of the things that pushed me to realize, like, all right, I can just cold message them and use that so that they can't make an excuse for me to come in person. I can just do it over the phone. And so that's one of the reasons I got into it. But then I also realized that everyone's running towards cold calling and they're all going that way. Like, oh, they're all going towards cold calling. So everyone talked about in the course. So I'm like, if I run the other direction, less people are going to be there and it's probably going to work better. And so that's what happened. There's plenty more benefits behind it as well. But that was one of the main reasons. And even now, a lot of people are running towards cold messaging now. And so now it's time for me to look at what I'm already doing and then figure out a different way to go, like take a diagonal, angle at it and go a little bit the other way than everyone else. I mean, because I know cold messaging will always work, but the way you approach it, it'll change, right? It always takes changing, testing. So that's kind of the reason why I got into it.
That's interesting because I just heard you say something on the other call as far as, I guess, where certain people are going to a specific software, but yet you saying, I've been using this software for a while now, and yet because of these people are coming, I need to go somewhere else. That's something that actually Gary Vee talks about, Ty talks about. It talks about, pretty much being a trendsetter. A lot of people are against it as far as the fact of if you get into a field too early, if it doesn't work, then you're pretty much going to lose. But the thing is, if you get into a field early and it does work, then obviously you're the trendsetter and you're going to win. So that's interesting.
Exactly.
I think it was Cody near this question, and I think I asked Anthony Morrison this question as well. I mean, where do you see the trend going? I guess since we're specifically talking about agency owners and everything like that, I mean, where do you see the trend going? I mean, you said pretty much, people were cold calling at first. Now a ton of people are cold calling. Now people are actually moving to cold messaging. And I think you said PJ, the email guy, had a little beef with you, but I don't know if he's actually in cold emailing. So, I mean, where do you see, how else can we prospect, or where do you see, because I know you're saying you're trying to, cold messaging. So where else can we go after that? Or after the, what's coming up?
Yeah, honestly, what I think is going to happen is I feel like I was talking to somebody else about this. I don't know if it's true, and it's kind of a little bit of a joke, but I'm not sure. But I feel like once we get past cold messaging and everyone starts doing that, businesses are going to want to get back to the traditional side of things. They're going to want to get back to how it used to be. They're going to start being like, oh, remember those good old days when people weren't spamming us on cold messages, right? And right now it's all, remember the good old days when people weren't spamming us on cold calls. And so what I feel like is going to happen is it might go back to the way it used to be. It might go back to like in-person walk-in meetings, like door-to-door sales. Like I honestly think, you never know, a business is soon going to be more happy to have someone come to their door and physically talk to them than somebody spamming them on messages, right? And so I think that that's a possibility, but I always think that cold messaging will work to an extent, but the way you go about it is going to change, right? Right now, a lot of people are pitching in the first messages, so that means that I'm not going to pitch in the first message and I'm going to do something different, right? And right now, a lot of people are getting spam. A lot of people are getting spammed by emails, cold emails. Then in the emails, I need to come at it in a way where I'm like, hey, I know you get hit up by a ton of people, but I'm not going to do that for you, right? I'm not going to try to sell you anything, and approach it differently. So the approach is going to change. But, things could just go back, relapse, and go back to how it used to be, just because marketers, they say marketers ruin everything, whether it's social media, sales, anything. Like, we ruin a lot of things for people. Like, we're selling, or like, that's what people say. So it's going to change. But I mean, we'll just have to see what happens with social media, and, you never know what'll happen, I guess.
That's pretty interesting. You say the marketers ruin a lot of things for a lot of people, because I just saw a post, and apparently Facebook is actually adjusting their platform to as far as the messenger, where you can pretty much tell if a business is messaging you. So that's pretty interesting that they said that. So and then I guess as far as I know a lot of people may not know this, but what exactly is, I don't think we covered this, what exactly is cold messaging, and on what platform can you cold message, and can it work for any business, not just for agency owners or anything like that? So
So cold messaging is essentially reaching out to businesses via a messenger space, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, texting, any of those platforms. If you can type out and send a message, that is considered a cold message. Now, the way that I go about it, it is universal for any industry that we're reaching out to. The only thing that does change, though, is where your niche is more active, because some businesses are going to be active on different platforms, so you just have to go cold message them there rather than a different platform. Now, cold messaging does work for other businesses. I mean, I personally haven't tested it too much in other places, but I mean, I've taught guys how to get girlfriends with cold messaging using the same method. So, I mean, it's like very universal. And I feel like I'm definitely explore different ways how it can help different industries than just agencies, and, start testing that out, because there's a market for that. And if it works, then it works, and we just got to test it in a different place.
That's pretty interesting. You said that, how you taught guys how to get girlfriends. I mean, that might be actually a business that some of you guys want to start up, as far as
I know
messaging dating service or something like that,
Yeah. The cold messaging couples. That's pretty good.
So some of you guys that are listening to that, take it and run. But if you have any questions, just put them in the chat box or the comments section, and he'll answer them. I'll get to them if I can see them. I don't think, can you see the comments, or I don't know, sometimes
I see a team chat button. I see a team chat. Is that something different?
Yeah, probably. I think is it in the left-hand corner of your screen? Yeah, that's something different. Yeah. That's just between, I guess, you and me, the back room, all that stuff. So
Got it.
Yeah, so and just to remind you guys, I don't know if you're just tuning in, but Josh is actually going to give away something free at the end. So if you guys hang on, you will you stay to the end. He'll actually drop some value on you, give you a free gift, free prize, free present, free PDF, free video. I don't know what it's going to be. So just stay on to the end, and he knows what it is. He hadn't even disclosed that to me yet. So I guess just as far as I know, you talked about. I guess let's talk about some of the psychology in cold messaging. When you send messages, how are you? I mean, are you supposed to go direct at a particular business, like, hey, I'm doing this, this, and this, or are you supposed to beat around the bush? And if you beat around the bush, I mean, how long do you, beat around the bush? Like you say, if you just go into a business's page and say, I'm here to, look for some information about this. I mean, what's the next step? What's the next move? What's the easiest way to get a business to respond?
Yeah. So the way I like to do it is approach them as a curious customer. We talked about this in the last webinar. We want to approach them, as I say, a curious customer. We're not approaching them as a salesman. We're approaching them as somebody who could be a potential customer. Now, like you said, you don't want to beat around the bush too long, because they'll get annoyed and they'll eventually figure out why you're there. You want to keep it very short and to the point, small talk, nothing crazy or super long, but you don't want to be approached them saying, I do Facebook ads, da-da-da-da. You want to approach them asking something like, hey, do you work with buyers and sellers, or do you do adjustments for both kids and adults, or, do you work with local or statewide cases? Different questions and conversation that is, traditional people like to ask as a customer rather than what traditional salespeople like to ask.
Yeah, I just saw you yawn, and you yawned and stretched a couple of times. What is a typical day like in the life of Josh Gavin?
Ooh, yeah. Okay. All right. So, man, I stay up pretty late. I stay up till like 3 a.m. lately, 4 a.m. a lot of the time. Just working on stuff. I'll try to like work on systems or funnels. In that sense, just kind of the back end stuff that you can't do during the day. Then I'll go to bed around 3 or 4 a.m. And then I'll wake up around like, my mom will probably wake me up around 9 or 10 o'clock. We have like a later breakfast. So like, that's like 6-7 hours of sleep. It's okay. I can work off that. I've done less. So like, it's pretty good. It's nice being homeschooled. How you can sleep in a little longer, but to me, it still doesn't feel long enough. But then, just have breakfast with the family and have that time in the morning. And then the rest of the day, it's just sitting in the basement and working. Like I don't go up much. I just stay at my laptop, and sometimes I slack off and take a nap or look at my phone. But I mean, I try not to be lazy, but it's honestly just like go upstairs for breakfast and then go up for like dinner. But the rest of the time is just like working. Like that's what I do. And I mean, I'll soon have school sports starting up again. I have school baseball. I still play, so that's going to be interesting to balance work and baseball and all of that. But I mean that, and then also when it comes to school, I do online school, so it's a little more lenient for when I have to do it and everything like that. So I'm still going to graduate from high school, but I'm not pursuing a college degree, so I don't need to necessarily do the maximum extent of work if I'm already have something in place. So that's what we do for that.
I don't know if you guys caught that, but he said his mom wakes him up around 9 a.m. So that's pretty interesting that he said that. So I mean, and then you just heard him say earlier that he's making 6 or 7 figures, and then his mom's still waking him up. So a lot of people talk about you can't really do anything on the internet. Internet's a myth. Internet's a game. And actually, I just saw a post yesterday, thanks to my wife. She tagged me in something that was in Instagram where Gary Vee had posted. And 10 years ago, I think it was 2010, 2009, where he said that pretty much people are posting stuff on the internet, or actually he said there's going to be influencers and all this stuff. And he's saying people aren't taking advantage of it. He said, people are pretty much doing blogs and, getting like, I think he said Whole Foods to pay them for a blog to sponsor them or something like that. He said it's underrated. And then he did another video sometime this year, and he said it's still underrated. He said the internet's underrated, it's undervalued. He said you can make a ton of money. So for you guys that are out there think that you cannot, because I'm trying to, I guess, metamorphosize this group into something more than just social media agency owners. I really wanted just people to know that you can do a lot of things online, not necessarily online, but just businesses in general. I think you talked about this the other day as far as how businesses, there's so many businesses that are created every day. I don't remember the exact number. I think maybe, I don't know if this might be a little overemphasizing, but maybe like 100,000 something businesses are created every day. Yeah. So, I mean, and then talk about a lot of agency owners where you're saying that some people are saying that, the market is getting saturated, but everybody needs to learn, everybody needs marketing in general. So you're going to have to market something. Yeah. You might as well market where everybody's eyes are at. People are moving away from TV. People aren't listening to the radio anymore. So therefore, you guys need to understand, if you have a business that being online is where you want to be, you need to get online now. I don't think it'll ever become saturated, but I mean, the sooner the better. You always want to do something really like. We have a 16-year-old here who's already started his business, already making money, already thinking about, how he can actually plan his day. I mean, a lot of adults don't think about that, as far as he's like, it's going to be kind of interesting how I can juggle doing baseball, doing school, and doing, running my business. How many people think about that? They just pretty much, they react, they don't think in advance. They pretty much just react. And you have a 16-year-old who is very, very mature. I keep saying his age is 16, but it's not about, his age. I mean, just the fact that he has developed himself into pretty much a business owner. So you guys are that say, some business owners cannot be created. Some entrepreneurs, can't, or actually a lot of people say, well, you have to be born to be, an entrepreneur. You have to, just something that, is an innate, is just genetic. Well, obviously you see this guy right here. I mean, obviously, I think some of the things that he has, the talents and everything he has, he pretty much were given, but still some things, well, I guess born with him might be genetic, but still the thing is, he's still developing himself into, a business owner. He's thriving to do things every day. You heard him just say work. I mean, he's not playing video games all day like some of you 16-year-olds, 16, 17, 15-year-old little kids playing video games all day. Now, that's fine and dandy if you figured out a way to play video games and make money. That's what you want to do. But obviously, he said it's not about the money to him. I think he truly, really wants to help people. And he asked me about my spirituality. Yeah, my spirituality is, I was, a former professing Christian, but I still believe, in spirituality and how important it is that you need to be spiritual as far as meditation and just, I guess, developing yourself, as a inner person, learning to figure out who you are. That way you can express yourself more to the world. So I don't know, what did it say? It says, my wife says, I'm so happy about this. We have a son who's 4 years younger. So many opportunities for youngsters these days. And hashtag ABM.
Yeah.
Here, I got it on my shirt. Hashtag ABM. Always don't stop. Continue to grow. So I guess
awesome.
Let me ask you, I guess, about your what's one crucial thing that you feel was significant in your growth? I think I might have touched on this, but I kind of maybe worded it in a different way. So, I mean, as far as, I guess, process and development, what is one particular thing that you would say, this is why I excelled, so good, so well, so quickly, so fast?
I would say respecting authority and listening to others, like respecting anybody that's over you, whether that's a mentor, another person with a course, coaching, whether that's your parents, anything like that. Listening to what they have to say has really helped that. Like, just anything my parents have told me, anything mentors have told me, like, I think that's one of the biggest things, just like respecting authority. No matter your age, if you're an adult or a kid, I think it's something that's super important. And then passion, having a passion for the industry. Whatever you're doing, you have to have a passion for it. Because like I said, if I was doing this for the money, not the passion, I would have stopped doing this when I wasn't making money, right? I would have quit when I wasn't making money. And I am making money now, but it's not like I was right from the start, I remember there was months where when I first started when I was young, I was charging $97 a month to run somebody's like ads, right? And that's like, now we're charging nothing under $2K. So, I mean, it's funny, but you have to have the passion no matter how much money you're making or not. You got to have that passion. That's
interesting you say that, because a lot of people are going to work every day and they do not enjoy what they're doing. I mean, they're just in a job that they hate. Yep. They have the passion. They really don't even want to get up in the morning. And that's interesting that you're saying that you have actually developed your passion already, and you actually have a passion for something you're doing at a young age. So I'm just really excited for this guy. I mean, just for the fact that
thank you,
how he's presenting himself, and just I guess the steps that he's taking to. I mean, I can just see that he's going to grow just even more, because I mean he has so many opportunities. And I guess Grant Cardone talked about this, which I'm wearing his hat, cash flow. Just the fact of he talked about wealth as not necessarily being money, but I mean, wealth is just the fact that you can pick up somebody and say, well, hey, I need an investment for this amount. Or, you can pick up and say, hey, I got a couple of ideas I want to run past you. Can you help me out? Some, not just from anybody, not just from, your uncle Bobo, or, your grandma, whoever it is, man, so just for the fact that, you can actually, just a business owner, you can actually call and pick him up, because he's developing relationship. Wealth is more than just money, it's developing relationships, contacts, and, obviously, it does have a little bit to do with money or whatever, but I mean, like they say, your net worth is your net worth is your network. So I mean, whoever you're connected with, I mean, that's how much money you're going to end up making. So I mean, that's pretty interesting that you are actually developing your wealth at such a young age. And
thank you.
I don't know if actually, let me ask you this question. It kind of popped in my head. I mean, do you think that you would actually be doing all this stuff if you were in, I guess, a public school setting? If you had to go to school every day, do you think that your mind would? I know you touched a little bit on homeschool and everything, and this isn't a plug for homeschool. I mean, I'm just trying to you guys to realize, I guess, the differences in being homeschooled and I guess public schools, and just for the fact that it's just so important, because to me it seems like you're not in a box like everybody else. Because now that I'm sitting here, just looking at your situation, is like, well, this guy, pretty much he doesn't do what everybody else is doing. So maybe that's why he carried it over into, his personal life. So, I mean, do you think you'd be in this situation if you were in public school?
No, not at all. Because here's the thing: if I was in public school, I would have the mindset that had to go to college and I had to take the ACT and had to work at a part-time job during the summer because I had school sports and da da da. And I would think that like I wouldn't have any time to work on this. Like I feel bad for the kids that are stuck in school because they have to do their school stuff because they're in it. They have to respect their parents for that. It's not their choice yet, but it's hard to run a business when you have school sports, and then you're trying to work a part-time job. Like I couldn't even imagine trying to learn what I learned then if I was in public school. So I think that it is so important or a really good thing to do because homeschooling, my mom always says, is learning how to learn, right? When you go to school, you're learning how to take a test, right? You're not learning how to learn much. It's just learning how to take a test and getting a good score on that test. You can go to college, but also so that the school looks good. So then they get more tax money, all that stupid stuff. But I mean, I think it's amazing because, your kids, just like your kids, I mean, now they have the chance to have the time of the day to look at things that they want to do and not be stuck in a box, like you said. So I think I would not be here if I wasn't homeschooled at all. There's no way that it could have happened.
Wow, that's pretty interesting because now that I'm kind of comparing, I guess, just for the fact of, we're pretty much taught to, as youngsters, to go to school, to do this, to do that. It's kind of like they're putting us in a box, like almost, so we take that in our adulthood and then we figure we have to work a job until a certain amount of time. Then, so I mean, it's just pretty much just like you said, a system. So I think the world has a system for, us as being individuals. And not just, everybody wants to talk about American and American dream. It's not just America. I mean, it's all over the world. You can see people working everywhere. I mean, everybody works, pretty much a job. But that's the thing as far as, just the opportunity of just being able to, I guess, the internet just blew everything up, as far as, just giving, an advantage into a business world. And if you really understand and know how to use the internet, which Josh truly does, then, you can pretty much change society. You can change your situation. You can actually develop your own systems to get out of, as they say, the rat race. Robert Kiyosaki talks about that, in his book, Rich Dad, the rat race. So, and speaking of books, I mean, I think earlier you mentioned that you were not a big reader. Are you a big reader now?
I'm not. I am not a big reader. I can't remember last time I read a book. Like I've got, Gary's book right here. I bought it. I've got Seller to be Sold. I've only read like a little bit of this, and I haven't even read the other book that I have. So like, I don't know. Here's my mind. Like, and even with courses, like I have Mentor Box from Ty Lopez because I grabbed the deal, and then I have the Wolf of Wall Street program too. I got those just because like, all right, I'll just try it out, right? And I was like, it's going to help me. I always tell myself I don't really need this, but it'll probably help me in other areas where I think I don't need it. So I don't really like watching too much of training or filling my mind with like more training and stuff because I feel like then I'm going to get distracted on what I really should focus on. And if I just block all that out and just realize like, all right, I have a problem right here, I need to solve it, then I have the stress that I have to solve it myself. And that's going to 2x how I would normally perform if I didn't feel like if I felt like I had somebody helping me, if that makes sense, right? Like there's more stress. I have to do this and figure this out by myself. So then I'm going to work 2 times as hard to do that. If instead of having something that I think is going to help me, like whether it's like a book or something, like if I read a book, am I wasting time reading a book when I could be solving the problem? Like, so I think training is really good and everything like that. I'm not in the stage of my life where I'm looking to invest more in my growth because I know what I want to do and I know what the problems I have to solve. And I know what they are. So now all it just comes down to is figuring out my own way to solve it. So not here to knock. I think it's amazing to go to events. And like, I actually just booked tickets to my first event in Las Vegas. I'm taking my dad, paying for him to fly down with me actually as well. So we're going to Las Vegas for an entrepreneur event. And like, I was like, all right, let's do it. Like time to see what's up with this. Something's good got to come out of it. But that's like the first time I've ever done that. So it's exciting. And so that's my thoughts on learning books and that.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting take. But as far as going to LA for that conference. What is the conference, if you don't mind saying? I mean, what conference is it?
Yeah, so yeah, it's actually Las Vegas actually. It's called M3 Accelerator. It's hosted by like Jet Set Fly, some of those e-commerce guys, other like digital marketers. So like it's not like I think a couple thousand will be there. It's not like a super big one, but it's in like the Palm Spring Casino. And like I wasn't initially gonna go because the tickets were like $300 and some dollars, or there's like $1,000 tickets. And I was like, oh, I can't fly down there because I don't know. I don't know. I won't have time. But then one of my guys, Nick Fitz, he's an e-commerce guy. He hooked me up with $67 tickets, so I just bought them. And then I went upstairs and I said to my dad, I'm like, I might have just bought tickets to an event in Las Vegas. And he's like, all right, we can. He's like, all right, let's go. And I was like, all right. So yeah, I'm gonna be paying for the whole trip, and I'm excited for it because I haven't left the state since I was like 3 years old, and I'm dying to travel. So it's gonna be exciting.
That's good. That's good that you actually can, buy your dad a ticket. It's actually not just, like a plan, buying a ticket. Most, I guess, teenagers are like, well, hey, they're going to their parents for money, but I'm not going to say your parents are coming to you, but I mean, just for the fact that you can actually, so
it feels good.
Yeah, that's exciting. So, as far as, I guess, there's pretty much one more question. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up because I know you've been going hard all day.
Sure.
Even though you're young and stuff, I still know you want to enjoy your day, do some work or something, whatever you want to do. Because I guess you enjoy some work. But I guess pretty much.
Yeah.
I ask everybody this question at the end. Some people think it's serious. Some people think it's kind of lighthearted. But if you were to have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Okay. Oh man, I would want to have the persuasion, superpower persuasion, and I can sell anything. If I can, dude, that's the power right there, dude. You can, if you can persuade, you can do anything. Like you can do, like if I have the power to persuade anyone, that's like ultimate power. I think. Now I think about that, like you can persuade governments, you can persuade people to buy your stuff, like. that's the one I would do. Persuasion.
That's interesting. And as far as your free gift, I know we have some viewers on, and then obviously there's going to be a lot of people watching the replay. What have you decided, or do you know what you want to give away, or can you put it in the chat box if people need to reach out to you? How do they get it?
So if they want the free gift, what I'm going to be giving away is actually a live example of one of my students cold messaging using our process. So I will be giving you access to the slide of an example of someone cold messaging and landing a meeting, so you guys can take from that actual example and put it into place. So message me on Facebook because I don't know if I can drop the link here because I don't have the chat box, or I can. If you're, are you gonna reshare this like in your group?
Yeah, actually it's live in my group now. So
Okay, yeah. So I would say just make sure that people are here at the end. To double check, they can just message me saying that they saw this. Just message me and say, like, if you're really watching this and you really know, then say the keyword cold messaging kings and I'll know you're here and I'll send over that live example.
All right. Thanks so much, Josh. And I guess, is there any, I know you said message you on Facebook. I mean, is that the best place you can reach you at as far as if they have any questions, they want to get in touch with you, anything like that? Is there any other platforms that you're on, or it's just Facebook the best?
Yeah, it's mainly Facebook right now. So just message me there, Josh Gavin, or I'll be tagged probably. So just message me there. Really active. If you guys want to join the Cold Messaging Kings with Mike C and I, do that. It's amazing. So I'm excited to help you guys out. Check my posts for content and value because I post 3 times a day on Facebook, and so there's plenty of stuff out there for you guys to see.
All right. Thanks so much, Josh. And thank you guys for tuning in. You heard it today, how to transfer to get rid of your cold calling and cold message, even though we kind of went off on different tangents, but just to get the mind of a 16-year-old entrepreneur, how he's running his business and how he plans on growing his business and being a trendsetter. So thanks so much, Josh, for tuning in, and we will check you guys.
My pleasure.
All right. Thanks. Have a good one.